Hello, Maya here, and thank you for joining me for my second video. The first one, we were talking about the Liberal Party. If you watched it, you're a champ because that video was way too long. I apologize for that. We're talking about the Conservative Party today and their plans for the housing market in Canada. And here we go, the Conservative Party. Let's get started. So the first
thing they want to do is leverage federal infrastructure investments to increase housing supply by building public transit infrastructure that connects homes and jobs by bringing public transit to where people are buying homes.
So as we know, it's getting really increasingly difficult to buy a home in Toronto. So a lot of people are buying homes outside of the GTA area. And what they want to do is build infrastructure for public transit for people to be able to travel back and forth from home to work. And that makes sense. That's great. Moving on.
Requiring municipalities receiving federal funding for public transit to increase density near the funded transit. So
once they fund this public transit infrastructure, they want the municipalities to now make sure that builders actually build homes there. So if a builder were to apply for a permit to build something in the city, they might want to incentivize them to go outside of the city or find different ways for builders to build outside of the city, closer to those public transit hubs where they're going to build the infrastructure.
Review the real estate portfolio of the federal government, the largest property owner in the country with over 37,000 buildings, and release at least 15% for housing while improving the Federal Lands Initiative.
So the Federal Lands Initiative, I actually had to look it up myself, is a $200 million fund that supports the transfer of surplus federal lands to eligible proponents to create affordable housing. So the federal government has a lot of vacant land. It's just sitting there. So why not use it for affordable housing? And what they're saying here is that they want to release at least 15% of these 37,000 buildings to create affordable housing for people. That's a great idea. Moving on.
Exploring converting unneeded office space to housing.
I don't know about this. I mean, who owns this unneeded office space, and who's to say that it's unneeded? If it's owned by a corporation or even a private owner, and if they decide to keep it vacant, should the government force them to use it for housing? Or, I mean, I don't know. What do you think? Tell me what you think.
Enhance the viability of using community land trusts for affordable housing by creating an incentive for corporations and private landlords to donate property to land trusts for the development of affordable housing. I mean,
I can't imagine somebody would want to donate their property. And what kind of incentive would the government offer for someone to donate? Because donate is kind of a strong word. I don't know about this one.
Tackle corrupt activities driving up costs of housing, money laundering, and foreign investors by implementing comprehensive changes to the Proceeds of Crime, Money Laundering, and Terrorist Financing Act, and give FINTRAC, law enforcement, and prosecutors the tools necessary to identify, halt, and prosecute money laundering in Canadian real estate market.
People are not aware of this, but there's so much money laundering going on in Canada in the real estate market. I'm planning on doing a separate video on that. But in case you don't know what FINTRAC is, it's the Financial Transactions and Reports Analysis Center of Canada. It is Canada's financial intelligence unit. What it is basically real estate agents, banks, and other institutions have to fill out a form every time we are working on a transaction. We have to fill out a form, and it identifies the person that we're working with, their occupation, and other details. And it is in order to try to nail down on this money laundering through real estate. So yes, this is a good thing, of course.
Unless you're a criminal. Then it's not such a good thing for you. Establish a federal beneficial ownership registry for residential property. I had to look this up. What is a federal beneficial ownership? Well, that is a real person. Not a corporate vehicle that ultimately owns, controls, or benefits from a company or trust and the income it generates. So they want
to establish a registry so that we know exactly who the actual person is, even if it's a corporation buying a property, who is the person behind the corporation.
They want to ban foreign investors not living in or moving to Canada from buying homes here for a 2-year period, after which it will be reviewed.
This is very similar to what the Liberal government party is proposing. However, what they are saying is they want to encourage foreign investment in purpose-built rental housing that is affordable to Canadians. So what's happening right now is, especially with pre-construction condos, there are a lot of foreign investors that will come in and sweep up like 10, 20 units per development. And what they generally do with those units is one of two things. One is they might just sell it on assignment prior to it being transferred into their name. And they might hold on to like maybe 1 or 2 units and just rent them out. What the government doesn't want is for them to do that anymore. They're saying, okay, fine. Do you want to invest in Canadian real estate? Sure. But for 2 years, you can't buy condos. You can't rent it out at prime rental rates. What you can do is invest in purpose-built rental housing that is affordable to Canadians. So that's pretty interesting. Let's see if that helps.
They want to make mortgages more affordable. How? By encouraging the offering of 7 to 10-year mortgages to provide stability for both first-time home buyers and lenders.
At the moment, you can lock in your mortgage for 5 years. What they want to do is extend that to 7 to 10-year mortgages. And I think it could be a good idea. I mean, a lot of people worry, like they'll lock in their mortgage and then once they get close to that 5-year mark, they start worrying. So this could put a lot of people at ease.
Moving on, they want to remove the requirement to conduct a stress test when a homeowner renews a mortgage with another lender. Hallelujah, this is amazing.
So basically what they're saying is, let's just say you own a home. You bought your home, you locked in your mortgage for 5 years, you're paying your mortgage regularly, on time, every time, like you have no problems with that. At the end of the 5 years, your bank is now offering you not such a good rate, okay? And now you want to go to another financial institution. Well, guess what? They're going to make you do the stress test all over again. And this is very stressful for a lot of people. So why do that? If you've had your mortgage, you've been paying it on time, you have no issues, your credit is good and everything else is fine. So why do a stress test all over again? It's not a new mortgage. So this is actually, I think, a great thing.
Increase the limit on eligibility for mortgage insurance and index it to home price inflation, allowing those in high-priced real estate markets with less than a 20% down payment an opportunity at home ownership. So
this is very similar again to the Liberal platform. We're talking about the CMHC, Canada Mortgage Housing Corporation. It is an insurance that people who are first-time home buyers and are putting down less than 20% deposit have to pay. So for example,
at the moment, if you put anywhere between 5 to 9.99% down as a down payment, you have to pay 4% insurance on your mortgage amount. And this is the rate for the 10 to 14.99% down payment. And moving on, and once you get to the 20% mark, then you're not paying this insurance anymore.
So that's the current situation. So what they want to do is, but this is up to $1 million. And what they want to do is they want to increase that because obviously, the average home price in Toronto has really gone up. And so, this will really help people, first-time home buyers.
Fix the mortgage stress test to stop discriminating against small business owners, contractors, and other non-permanent employees, including casual workers.
As it stands, the stress test is really hard on these workers right here. If you are self-employed, if you're a contractor, if you are a casual worker, so that means you have like several little jobs, but you make good income, right? So your income is good. Your combined income per month is like, excellent, but you don't have that steady, fixed, full-time job, right? And so it becomes very difficult. The banks almost treat you like,
I don't want to say a criminal, but
you definitely get different treatment, and it is a sort of discrimination. So this is actually really great.
No capital gains tax on the sale of Canadians' principal residences.
So we were talking about the Liberal Party yesterday, and what they want to do is they're saying if you own your personal residence for less than a year, less than 12 months, they want to charge you capital gains. So let's talk about that. Not many people think about this because even if you're not an investor, if you just own your home or you're planning on buying a home, okay, you don't know what might happen in life and you might need to sell less than 12 months. You don't know that, right? We don't plan on it, but it sometimes happens. Let's just say you're not a rich person. You're making $50,000 a year, okay? You live in Ontario. You purchased your property for $600,000, and now you've sold your house for $1 million. Associate selling costs. This is basically, as a seller, you're paying commission to your realtor. Normally, kind of the norm is 5%. Of that 5%, your listing agent will be giving away 2.5% to the buyer's agent. So, and then I just left like a $5,000 for closing costs, lawyer fees, etc. So let's just say you bought it for 600,000, you sold it for $1 million. So that's 400,000, right? Now you deduct the 55,000, which are your costs, and now you're down to 345,000 in your pocket, right? Well, of that 345,000, the government wants you to pay them $72,890. That's a lot of money for someone who makes $50,000 a year. That is more than what you make in a whole year of work. Okay. Like I said, we don't plan on these things happening, but there are people who will buy a house and they'll fix it up a little bit, kind of, I guess you could call it a flip, but not necessarily because they're living there. It's their home. It's their primary residence. And so they're fixing it up and then they want to sell it and make a little profit. So I don't know. What is your thought on that? This is the overview of the Conservative government platform, what they're planning on doing with the housing market. I will do NDP and Green Party. And please share these with your friends. Thank you so much and have a great day.
Bloopers. Excuse me. Excuse me. Establish a federal beneficial ownership registry. Financial transaction. Oops, where did I go? Oh, right here.
So tune in. Tune in. No, I meant so make sure you watch those.